A blacksmith is one who creates objects and tools from steel and iron with the use of a forge. This is a long process. Blacksmithing played a major role in the development of the world and of many nations, and it was once one of the most needed and sought after trades for thousands of years. In modern times, blacksmithing has become nearly obsolete. Therefore, blacksmithing is becoming a forgotten trade. Blacksmithing has held a major role in history. The oldest remnants of blacksmithing date back to 4500 BC and belong to a group of people known as the Sumerians, later moving to the Chinese and soon flourishing across many nations, including Europe. One of these nations were the Romans. The Romans not only conquered many nations with the help of blacksmithing, but also dedicated a god to blacksmithing. This god was known as Vulcan. Vulcan belonged to the most ancient stage of Roman religion and mythology. Vulcan was the god of fire, including the fire from volcanoes, metalworking, and the forge. A forge is what a blacksmith uses to heat their metal to a temperature that is able to work with. Blacksmithing was used for building everything from tools for farmers, art and building materials, as well as swords, shield, armor, and other weapons. Weapons such as flails, maces, and arrowheads. During the Industrial Revolution, blacksmithing became less needed due to the large quantities being produced in factories from new inventions. Modern forges can create thousands of tons of industrial iron and steel a week. And although it doesn't play a vital role today, the processes of blacksmithing have remained very much the same. The most important tool of a blacksmith is the forge. The forge has many different variations, and normally a forge includes a form of insulation such as brick or other form of brick, a fuel source, commonly coal or charcoal, and an air source. Coal is the preferred fuel source for many blacksmiths due to its high heat temperatures and its sustainability while being used. The air source is very important as well, as it is what forces the coals to a temperature that allows the metal to get hot enough to be able to be worked with. These temperatures normally reach anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 degrees. This allows the metal to become more malleable to be able to work with. And many of the blacksmiths that work with this metal work in dim lighting so that they can work by the color of the metal. And other important tools involve the hammer and anvil, as well as much more detailed tools. This picture shows that of what a forge might have looked like years ago. The air source in the background in the red box is what was used to heat the coals to a temperature so that the metal could be worked with. And you can see an anvil and a vise in the back left corner. There are many processes in blacksmithing that haven't changed, such as drawing out. This means to lengthen out or stretch out metal. Also, bending and forge welding. Forge welding is the use of high pressure and heat to weld metal together. The last important step of blacksmithing is known as tempering. Tempering and quenching is where a blacksmith hardens the metal so that it will be more durable. This is done depending on what's being forged by heating the metal to a certain temperature and then quickly cooling it. The most common temperature of high carbon steel, which is the steel that most knives and tools are made out of today, is anywhere from 1450 to 1700 degrees. The process of cooling the metal is known as quenching. This is normally done in oil and sometimes water. Although many of the processes are the same today, the future processes and uses of blacksmithing are unknown. Because there are faster and more consistent ways of producing quality steel and iron, the number of blacksmiths have been declining. According to the Artist Blacksmith Association of North America, there were 92 blacksmiths in 1973, but today there are over 4,087 blacksmiths. The number of blacksmiths are extremely low compared to that of hundreds of years ago, but they are increasing in recent years. Blacksmithing is being renewed as hobbies and art. It's transitioned from being far more practical uses to becoming luxuries, such as $100 knives or $1,000 handrails. And although it's not now more important than it ever was, but it now is a luxury and not a necessity. It still has a major role in the advances of the world and of many nations. And in conclusion, blacksmithing played a significant role in the advances of nations. Blacksmithing involves many long processes that haven't changed for thousands of years, but the number of blacksmiths are declining. And this was what makes blacksmithing a forgotten trade.